Welcome to NewFinance. So our first speaker is John Adam from Invezz.
Hi guys, thank you very much for coming along. Basically, this evening I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about Invezz and hopefully get some feedback and some questions from you. Invezz is somewhere between a startup and a growth company. We've been around for a couple of years now, but we've changed our strategic direction a little bit over the last 6 months. So just to give you some background, Invezz is essentially a product for the retail investment market, which models some of the big changes which have taken place in the retail finance market and other markets over the last 10 years. So 10 years ago, if someone wanted to buy insurance, they would go and speak to an insurance broker. If they wanted a credit card, they would go and speak to their bank manager. They might respond to some junk mail that caught them at the right time. And they would essentially be given 2 or 3 options, choose one of them, and that was pretty much it. 10 years ago as well, if you wanted to go on holiday, you would go and have a chat to someone in your local travel agent. They would give you a brochure, you would flick through the nice pretty pictures, and you would choose a resort somewhere in Spain or Portugal or wherever it is that you might want to go. As most of us have probably experienced at some time in our life, there's a huge variation in the quality between different 3- and 4-star hotels. The likes of Money Supermarket and TripAdvisor completely revolutionized both of those markets. The information which the internet has made available means that companies are no longer able to hide behind glossy magazines, nice pictures, and attractive slogans. This is just a little bit of market research on the impact that comparison sites have had on the market. Most of you here have probably bought something through a comparison site over the last 5 years. The demographic in this room is exactly the demographic which comparison sites have changed the route to market. Sorry. And also review sites. This is also some market research on the way that we buy products. And I think it's indisputable that most of us, when we go to market, we tend to read consumer reviews about the products and services that we're interested in buying. And again, the demographic which is in this room, and it's not only this demographic anymore, but it stretches right the way up to our mothers and fathers who are becoming more internet savvy, and they do their research online, and it does have a huge impact what other consumers are saying about the products and services that they're interested in, simply because people are looking for feedback from people that they consider to be their peers. Now, Invezz is built as the equivalent for the retail investment industry, which is still in a lot of ways at the state that the retail finance industry was 10 years ago. So basically, we've built a comparison site for retail investment service providers. So that could be anything from stockbrokers to CFD brokers. It could be data vendors. It could be crowdfunding platforms, peer-to-peer lending. Essentially, any service provider which is open to a retail investor or a private investor. We've also built a review platform. So if you're interested in looking at IG, then you can go and have a look and see what other investors which are similar to you have been saying about it. So the idea is that you can go and look and first of all compare the KPIs in terms of the pure data. So what kind of services are provided? Can you compare the costs? And not only that, but you can dig down into the user experience and the more soft parts of the service which is being provided by those companies. But not only that, Invezz is built as a 360-degree solution for retail investors. So retail investors, before they come to market, before they decide to buy a product, before they decide which service provider they're going to use to transact that product, they have a decision-making process. So they have to decide what exactly they want to invest in, and they have to consider what their own particular aims are, what their own particular limitations are. And we also have a media which provides all the news analysis around that. Data services are also very important for retail investors, and of course the community element. So what we're doing is taking the boxes that we have to tick, which already exist on the market, which is news analysis, market data, and so on, bringing it all into one easy-to-use platform, and we're adding on the route to market, the commercialization model, which mirrors the comparison site and the review platforms. And we also like to think we're showing innovation as well. This is an example of one of the tools that we've built, which also brings in the community element. This is the Invezz SWOT tool. So basically, if you're interested in any kind of investment product, so that could be traditional financial instruments, such as in the example here, Tesco shares. It could be a forex pair. It could be a crowd-funded project. It could be anything. We've built this tool, which is user-powered. So users can go into this tool and they can add strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for any particular financial instrument or investment product that they're interested in. And different users can comment and vote those up and down. And this is a really interesting tool that we feel, and we've already had interest from some big financial institutions who are interested to provide it for their client base. So if anyone's interested, please go into Invezz later on and have a play with this. And what have we achieved to date? At the moment, we have about 200,000 unique visitors to the site per month, and we're already ahead of some relatively well-known industry names. You can see a couple of them up here in terms of the unique visitors that come to the site every single month. And we've done this through a very cost-effective content strategy. We have a team of journalists writing articles every single day. And if you go onto Google and you type in things like Facebook share price, Tesco share price, Apple share price, Lloyd share price, you'll see Invezz popping up all over the place. Pretty much every single thing that we write goes into the top positions in the newsfeed, which is one of our strengths in terms of bringing the traffic towards the commercialization model of the marketplace. So, in summary, we want to provide a platform for retail investors to research whatever kind of investment product they might be interested in. And that's through using news analysis, power of the community, bring them to a point where they feel comfortable about making a decision, and then ultimately provide them with the platform that they can come to market.
Thank you very much. Okay, does anyone have a question for John?
Can you speak a little bit about the monetization strategy in terms of generating revenues from your site?
Mm-hmm.
Or more specifically, 200,000 unique visitors a month.
Yep.
How does that translate into revenues, and what's the cost of acquisition of those continual visitors?
Mm-hmm. So I think in terms of cost, we have a little statistic here. So it costs us about 3 pence per unique visitor. So that's obviously massively more cost effective than advertising via Google AdWords. So the monetization model has a couple of different prongs. So the main one is the marketplace. So the marketplace works very much like Google. So if you go into a Google search page, you have organic listings and you have sponsored listings. So the idea of Invezz is that unlike some of the comparison sites, we don't just have the companies listed in the marketplace which are paying us. We have every single stockbroker which is available to a retail investor in the UK, or whatever the service provider might be. They can sort those according to various KPIs. We're building currently sophisticated price calculators so that you can punch in example trades that you might do over a 6-month period or 1-year period, and it'll spit out the approximate cost with different service providers. We'll never manipulate the organic results. So if you go into a filter or a search, then what comes out, whether that company pays us or not. But just like Google, we'll always have 2 or 3 sponsored listings at the top. And companies are paying to be in those sponsored listings. IG has been our anchor tenant over the last 3 months since we launched the marketplace. So for all the categories that they're involved in, they pay us a certain amount of money per month to always be listed at the top before users start to filter. Because the media also drives relatively large amounts of traffic, we do traditional media deals, so banner space, lead generation through downloading guides, and all the kind of monetizing avenues that a media might do. Also, we're looking at integrating market data services. We've been approached by the biggest retail-facing market data vendor in the world at the moment, which is still at very preliminary stages. But whether it's with them or whether it's doing it by ourselves, that's another area that we think we can monetize quite strongly.
Hi. There are people, when they check review sites, that are sometimes suspicious about the legitimacy of reviews. Do you have a protection built in against fraudulent reviewership?
Yeah, we've built a pretty sophisticated anti-spam system behind that, because especially in the investment world, that's the crucial thing.
Absolutely.
If the reviews are not genuine, if you have 10 reviews for a particular broker that are very clearly written by the broker or by someone put up to it by the broker, then it won't work. You have a few examples on the market of relatively primitive review platforms for different service providers. They tend to be isolated to online trading, so forex and CFDs and so on. And they are full of spam reviews. So that's something that we're very conscious of. It only has value if the reviews are really clearly genuine, balanced, and so yeah, we do have a good spam filter, we feel, which I'm sure we'll make better as time goes on.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You want to come forward? Come forward so we can get you on camera. Okay.
On the review side, just a follow-up question. I think Airbnb have been pretty good at forcing their user to review on both sides. What have you implemented for that to ramp up? Because ultimately, I think that's going to be a key differentiator.
Yeah, I mean, for us, that's the biggest challenge that we currently face. It's getting the volume of reviews that we require in order to hit the critical mass to make it a really valuable tool. And we launched this 3 weeks ago now. And we're advertising on site. We're trying to provoke reviews. We're currently not happy with the number of reviews that we're currently doing. So it is something that we have to look at really closely and is critical to success. So I can't give you a clear answer on that now because it's something that we are slightly struggling with at the moment.
And maybe to re-clarify the problem that you're trying to solve, it's a problem of friction, it's a problem of accessibility of the knowledge for the industry. Is it? What is the main problem that you're solving?
I mean, it's giving people access to information in one spot. So rather than trawling through forums, making complicated calculations for themselves, it's providing them with one easy, usable platform where they know whatever the service provider that they're looking for, they'll find it there.
So review are going to be key.
John, thank you very much. No.